Umaru and Ibrahim, thank you so much for joining us this morning. But I'll start with Umaru Kirawa. Umaru, tell us what exactly did you experience? What was the general mood in the community as this repentant terrorists were being reintegrated?
The experience is a very difficult situation. It's a dilemma, and it's a situation that the people of Borno have found themselves between a rock and a hard place. It's between the devil and the deep blue sea. These people have killed their parents, have killed their wives, have abducted their people, and they have repented, and the government has accepted them. And the people have no any other choice than to welcome these people. And that is why most of the communities have to option to welcome these people, because even if they did not welcome them, what will happen? Should the insurgency continue? The killings continue? So by and large, this is the situation that the people of Borno have found themselves. But largely, before the surrender of the insurgents, that is before the killing of Abubakar Shakau, the leader of the Boko Haram then, the situation has been dicey because Bama was taken, Goza was taken as caliphate, and so many other local government areas of Borno State are in the firm control of Boko Haram terrorists. But with the surrender of the insurgents, which later we see large number of the insurgents, largely because of the policy of the government introduced, tagged as the Borno model for peace by the governor, Professor Babagana Umaru Zulum, we see large number of terrorists surrendering. I mean, coming in large number, and then the government is welcoming them, taking them to camp, rehabilitating them. And then we see communities being resettled. The governor himself leading the forefront with the military, the civilian JTF, vigilantes, hunters, and others leading the resettlement of communities who were hitherto displaced by the insurgents, over 2.1 million of them displaced. But largely now, most of the communities have been resettled. Bama has been resettled. Goza has been resettled. Baga, one of the local government that has given Professor Babagana Umaru Zulum headache, which he was attacked severally there. But fortunate enough, he is alive, and then the community is back, and we've done so many reports with regard to Baga, how fishing is taking place, how people are going about their activities. So largely, it's a situation that the people have no any other option than to welcome the insurgents. However, there are serious challenges that really need to be addressed.
Umaru, a very interesting way you put it. You put it as if the people have no other choice. You put it as if this is being put on their lap and they have to accept it because there's no other choice. I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to come back with a question for Ibrahim, but let's go on a break yet for now. And then when we come back, we're going to expound on that submission you just gave as we look at the concerns people might have when you have to reintegrate former terrorists into a community. What happens to accountability? What happens to recompense? But let's take this break first, Umaru and Ibrahim. Do stay with us. We'll be back. Hi, welcome back. We're talking about instances in Borno State with Governor Babagana Zulum as they try to reintegrate repentant terrorists back into communities. We have new central correspondent, of course, Umaru Kirawa, who filed in the report, and a concerned citizen. Ibrahim joins us today, and I'm going to be asking both of you a very interesting question. Gentlemen, welcome again. Thank you very much for staying. So, Umaru, you talked about the instance where these communities have had to accept repentant insurgents back into their fold. It's one thing to say, let's just let them back in. It's another thing to actually measure what repentance is. I don't know by what measure, what tape rule, or what, they use to measure if a person is truly repentant. What happens to accountability? What happens to recompense? What happens to, hey, I need to get consoled for the loss of my family? And these will often lead to trauma for people who would see these repentant terrorists walking about. And you have to ask that human question. Are you satisfied with what the government has done when it comes to reintegration here? So these are the concerns that I have. I'm not the only one who might be concerned. I'm wondering if Ibrahim has any concerns that he wants to put in here, seeing as he is a local of the community. Ibrahim, what do you think? What concerns do you have regarding the situation here?
For the opportunity and good morning once again. I can say there was a secret behind the success that Borno State government has achieved in terms of reintegration. One of the success is that we, the people of Borno, have confidence and trust in Professor Umaru Kirawa, MNA FNAC, because we have confidence in him. That was the reason why we have accepted those repentant AOGs into our community. We know Professor Umaru have done everything possible to restore peace back to our various community. And with the effort he have made, that he agree that these people should come back to our community so that we can sit together with them for peace to continue in Borno. As Kirawa have made mention that we have no option, the people of those communities have no option that to accept those people. Partially, yes, but the most important aspect or the most important thing here is the confidence and the trust that we have in Borno State Governor Professor Umaru is the reason behind the acceptability of those people into their various community. And Professor Umaru is in the front line in terms of reintegration in the various community that was affected by the insurgency.
So Ibrahim, interesting submission there, but let's take a look at history here. Borno State was one of the worst hits when it comes to insurgency. And since Babagana Zulum took office, he's really been trying very hard, and he has come a long way. This is great. He's also used the media to also create great PR for Borno State. Every time you look in the media, and Kirawa always has some of these reports, there are schools being reopened, there are communities being resettled, there's life returning to Borno, life returning to Maiduguri. But how do you measure repentance? How are you sure that a former Boko Haram, in quote, insurgent is repentant? How are you sure that he's not being reinfused back into the system? Or is this all just a big PR stunt? Umaru, if you can answer.
Like I've said earlier, the people of Borno State have found themselves between the devil and the dark blue sea. It's a dicey situation. It's a very difficult situation, and many people have criticized the reintegration drive. However, if you look at the situation holistically, we have over 300,000 of the repentant insurgents that have surrendered so far. These are the official figures of the insurgents that have surrendered, and some of them, according to government data, some of them are farmers, some of them are community members that have been conscripted into the terrorist activities, and some of them are women, some of them are children. As such, within the numbers, there are vulnerable individuals. However, be that as it may, there are hardened terrorists within the cycle. And the government is very clear. I'm not speaking on behalf of the government. However, the government have said that they profile these people, they profile them into both hard and soft classification. Mm-hmm. Those that are soft are the vulnerable, and those that are hard, they are the amirs, the leader of the frontline fighters. And the government is deradicalizing them. That is what that's the language they use in changing their mindset. That is what they are saying, that they are advising them using religious leaders and community leaders to advise them, to show them the real way, that what they are doing is very bad and is incurably bad, because they are killing their fellow human beings. They are killing their fellow citizens, fellow statesmen. So it's very bad, and they should embrace peace. And in fact, that is why you see most of these communities are being reintegrated. I mean, Bama, if no matter what somebody will give you in the last 7 years, even me, I will not go to Bama. Even no matter what you do, I will not go because of the level of vulnerability, and the terrorists are in firm control of that location. However, with increasing level of peace and the reintegration process can be used to the level of peace that people are enjoying now. And that is why people have no any other option than to welcome them. Because continuity of the crisis, it will never do anybody good. And I remember when the then governor of Borno State, who is the present Vice President Kashim Shettima, when he was asked on CNN about the abduction of the Chibok girls, then in 2014 or 15 or so, he said, we have no any other option than to get these girls back, even if need be it for us to talk to the devil. We wouldn't mind, because that is the level of concern that the continuous killing of our people will not solve the problem. Okay. So the government have to coalesce with the people, with the community. Yes, at the initial stage, there was serious problem because of lack of inclusion of the communities in the reintegration process. But along the line, having understood the challenges, there were researches done by scholars, by academicians. I can remember Bama Bukarti and the likes have done researches on the pitfalls of the reintegration process, and they offered solution with regard to community inclusion, with regard to community empowerment, support system that will help to hasten the process and then solve some of the teething problems that are affecting the problem. And some of these recommendations have been absorbed by the government, and we are seeing large number of people being reintegrated, and even some of the insurgents are helping the security forces in terms of moving to the front line and identifying some of their friends and colleagues that have not yet surrendered. And I mean, peace
okay then, Kirawa. All right.
Okay, so Mara, thank you for the explanation so far. But I think what I wanted to ask in particular, you mentioned the extreme insurgency people, and of course the vulnerable one, including women and young children, and bringing these people back into the same community where they've killed people, they've stolen their property and all whatnot. So are they saying, I just need to get the exact response, so everybody's going to come back, or the extremists will be taken to prison, or they would just put them back into the system and nothing happened, and tell them, oh, what you did was bad, and they get a pat on the back and say, don't do it again? Is that what was happening?
Nonsense. I mean, it says that bringing criminals back to the community without de-radicalizing them, it is at the expense of the peace and security of the country. Exactly. As such, it is crystal clear with regard to what the government is doing. They said they are de-radicalizing them. They are engaging them with religious leaders. Some of them, they have this religious mindset that they are doing jihad, that they are fighting in the cause of gods. They are doing God fight, and you cannot de-radicalize these people without engaging religious leaders that have the intellectual prowess, that have the technical know-how and the knowledge of Islam. Okay. Which is the basis.
All right then, Kirawa. Thank you for saying that, because I was coming to that, and I want Ibrahim to answer this now. So Ibrahim, just like Kirawa was going on, I wanted to know exactly who would be put in charge of helping these repentant terrorists back into the system. First of all, it seems that there's a lack of justice when it comes to how they are being reintegrated, because, I mean, hey, they're not paying for the criminalities that they've committed. That's on one side. Then is there a system put in place to ensure that they continue staying Repentant. And who would be the authority in charge? Would it be the religious leaders? Would it be the police? Would it be a special force or so? Exactly what structures are being put in place for this reintegration to make sure it maintains peace? Ibrahim.
Before going to your question, let me add more light on the response from Kirawa. What I want us to understand here in the process of reintegration has a lot of stages and processes. One of the processes is just like me to say, okay, Kirawa, you are now a journalist. You have confidence and believe that journalism is the best profession on earth. So me as a lawyer, I would like to convince you at least to wipe this ideology that you have in your mind that journalism is the best profession on earth. This is the same process of reintegration, wiping the ideology of what they have been doing as a jihad. One. Secondly, empowering them with skills when they have been reintegrated back to the community. What are they going to do when they return back to their community? They must have to be engaged so that when they have returned back to their community, they will have one or two things to be doing as a source of income that will even then keep them busy, change their mind, and so on and so forth. This is what the government have been doing in the radicalizing those people. How I wish you can visit those radicalization centers. You can see how one is in carpentry, another different person is doing is in different skills, so that when they come back to the community, they will have things to be doing. I know some of those repentant Boko Haram that currently, after giving them their status pack, they have now even employed another different person which is into
Did you say starter pack? Did you say starter pack? What's in the starter pack? What do they get?
What do you mean by the starter pack? For example, for the carpentry, when you learn how to at least make a wardrobe or chair or a bed, okay, then you will be given with those facilities. For example, a generator and other tools that can help you to do your work. If you're a fashion designer, you will be given a machine, a design machine, a sewing machine, and so on and so forth. That will be startup, and also a capital for you to start up.
So Ibrahim,
those businesses.
Are these amenities available only to the repentant insurgents, or is it available to the community?
We are basically now we are talking about the repentant. When you come to the community, members of the community, the same things has also been done. For example, members of those communities that will accept those repentant Boko Haram, they also need to be considered. Let me give an example with education sector, Western education sector in Borno. Professor Babagana Marzulum have done excellently in this aspect, where he built a modern primary and secondary school. When it comes to agriculture, he has done very good with providing some agricultural tools, youth empowerment, also engaging members of the community and giving them also a starting pack for a businesses. For example, last week when we went to Southern Borno, you can witness that he has given 1 billion naira to some selected local government for them to expand their business so that they will not feel like they have left behind, not only considering the repentant Boko Haram.
Okay,
and for you to have those ideas, those ideology of jihad, you must have to consider those kind of things. At least wiping those ideas, giving them what they will be they will be doing when they have returned back to the community. And back to your question.
Ibrahim,
if you can remember, as I made mention of the secret behind this, it's not only what I've made mention.
Okay.
Our tradition also play a very vital role. We can proudly say we, the people of Borno, are good in terms of resilience. Not only this issue of this Boko Haram, a lot of issues that may come into your life, we are good. Religious also play a very vital role in our tradition. We are good and resilient in dealing so that we can have everybody alone, not only to say if I have issue with Kirawa, that will be an issue forever. No, that issue will just maintain between me and Kirawa.
All right, now, Ibrahim, my apologies. I do have to rush you off because we have hit the top of the hour. But I think your submission was very clear. You have to empower the people, not just the insurgents, but also the community, especially when it has to do with the situation of radicalization. De-radicalizing them and also empowering them will serve the community best. Thank you very much, Ibrahim. Thank you very much, Kirawa, and your Hall of Fame behind you. Thank you for having this conversation with us, and we continue to hope that Borno State continues to experience this status of peace and that it only gets better, whether reintegration or whatever means. We only hope for the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.